Hey guys, this is Fire from InDepth Gaming, bringing you an achievement guide, tip, tricks, walkthrough-esque kind of video to help set you up for success in the game Little Big Workshop. This game was developed by Mirage Game Studios and published by Handy Games and released today, September 24th, for a price of $19.99. If you want to pick it up today, however, for the first day it is on sale, so you can save a couple bucks. So I've played multiple game sessions of this game and had to restart multiple times. Why? This game is not an easy game. As far as achievement wise, if you are patient, you can unlock all the achievements in this game. I have no doubt in that. You just have to really be patient and work at this game. It's a simulation game. It's not something you can rush and do quick. So I wanted to give you some advice, tips, and tricks, and also tell you about some of the mistakes that I made early in the game that have actually helped me progress in further playthroughs to help set myself up for success. So one of the first things I want to point out in this game is don't buy too much equipment too early. When you first start out, you're going to have kind of a small space that'll include this room, this area that's blocked off, and then a small room right here. You don't have a lot of space, and as far as like your layout, use the rooms however you want. The way I recommend using them is the very first room next to the alpha loading bay. Make that your work area. Then turn this room into your break room, and then turn this room into a storage room. Why do it this way? Honestly, it's my personal preference and what worked best for me after doing now 5 or 6 different restarts because I keep going bankrupt. Now, moving on to that note, one thing as you start to progress that will make your life super simple and have a much more enjoyable play session time is be smart about where you place things. Don't let things get too crowded, but also keep similar machinery and equipment together. So what you're going to want to do is if you're building multiple assembly stations, for example, keep them together. If you're building multiple press machines, keep those together. Don't have them spread out everywhere. Keep all your work isolated in one location. On that note, as you begin to progress into the game, some of the stations that you're going to want to get more and more of are things like the woodworking stations because you're going to utilize those more. But also this is going to depend on how your market is. The game features a market that is always evolving. Things that people want, such as demand for items, are going to constantly update every couple days. So what I'm experiencing and what you're experiencing could be two totally different types of items or challenges that could be coming up, and things are constantly going to be changing. So make sure you're not just going for one of every piece of machinery just because you have the money. Now, speaking of money, be very careful when you're spending money in this game. Make sure you can afford to not profit for a little while. As you take on projects, don't build too many quantities of a single item. So say if I go into the market and I'm like, oh my gosh, rubber duckies are doing really good. Actually, ironically, they don't look to be doing too great. As you can see, they're all downtrending. But let's pretend 63 units are being demanded by people right now. Don't go out and build 63 ducks. Build 10. Build a small number. Why? As you can see on the right on the contract screen, I'm stuck with bicycles and hats I can't sell because it took me too long to create those. So now I have to wait for them to come back into the market and people want them again. So just don't build too many of one item. Don't feel like you have to put all your eggs in one basket. Build a couple different items. Now, when I say build a couple different items, be smart about what you're building. So as you can see right now, I'm doing a bicycle. This uses a little bit of the machine that I'm using here, my metal extruder or my assembly stations or woodworking stations to kind of do things. But my injection presses aren't being used. So what am I going to do? I have workers that aren't doing things. So I'm going to go in and I started a contract here for the rubber ducks. Why am I doing the rubber ducks? Because it uses these machines, so painting and injection presses, that my other projects aren't using. So be smart about how you pick projects up and don't do too many projects that use the same tables and resources. So as well as being smart about your projects, you'll unlock as you progress in the game early zones, and then you'll later unlock the ability to kind of set those zones up a little differently. So you'll start off with a storage zone like we have here. It's a yellow marked off zone, and all you can do is store things. As you progress a little further in the game, you'll be able to customize your zones. So as you can see this green one here, I made an export zone. Make your closest zone you can be your export zone next to where the loading bay is. So I used to have it over here. I transitioned it over here because I made a bigger loading zone or like incoming item zone. Now another zone that you can do as well are these content style zones for your workstations, and then you can link them to the billboards. So the way this works is if I have workers that are working on the bicycle, for example, they'll store the parts here so they don't have to travel as far. If you give them the least possible distance to travel, they'll be more efficient and make you a lot more money and be able to allow you to progress further and grow faster. So be very careful about how you do the zones there. Now, another thing I want to highlight is make sure you keep your people happy. It's very easy to not want to throw money into things that don't make you money, but believe it or not, keeping all these little guys happy is very important in this game. Make sure you have coffee machines, vending machines, and pay attention to these. If you notice they're constantly out of stock, buy another one. I'm on day 72. I have 2 coffee machines, a vending machine, and then some areas for them to do some recreational activity and relax. I just built this room. It used to take place over here. I knocked the wall down, and now I'm building a bigger one. As you can see, I'm starting to progress my building and trying to expand into my own areas. Now, as far as expansion, as you progress in this game, like I was saying, it's very easy to get too excited. Don't buy all these machines. I'm on day 70 something. I don't have a glue station. I don't have a welding station. Don't buy things until you need them, because these machines are expensive. And don't be afraid to just ignore these challenges until you're ready for them. Especially as you unlock like medium items. You know, building bicycles and things like that, and mountain bikes and skateboards, they require tons of different machinery. And if we go look at some of the machinery right now, they're pretty expensive. I mean, 3,500, 4,000 almost, 8,000 just for a testing station. That adds up quick when you only have $18,000. So don't jump into too many new things, as exciting as it can be, too early. Pace yourself, take time. And as you start to grow, you know, figure out where you want to focus in. Do you want to have more storage area? Do you want to have more working zones? I would strongly recommend the first kind of major expansion you get, once you can build your building to a bigger point, is build more space for your workstations. Spread them out, but also keep things together. As you can see, I've started to recently get my woodworking and assembly stations to have their kind of own zones and areas, and I'm starting to progress that out in here as I expand a little further back in my original room. So, you know, my paint stations here have their area, my press stations will soon have their area, and also try not to have, if you're going heavy into a project like making rubber ducks, for example, these use the press stations, the injection presses. Have more than one, otherwise you're just going to slow your progress and not be able to do very much in the game. It's just like you're handicapping yourself if you don't have multiple of the right equipment that you need. Now, if you're doing multiple projects, don't be too afraid there. Also, let's talk a little bit about bankruptcy. Once you hit negative $5,000 in the game just ends your game session. It doesn't matter. There's no try again. It warned you when you started going negative. So don't be afraid. If you need to, go down to this worker section, fire a couple people. If they're going to lose their jobs because you go out of business, try to save every couple dollars you can as you can. Don't be afraid to, if you notice in the market, so let's check on the rubber ducks here. I've got 6 out of the 30 made. I can see in 2 days, because I've unlocked a feature through research and development that kind of shows me the trending for price data, I'm going to start to lose money on these ducks. Or sorry, let's go over to this duck. Just as bad. I'm going to start to lose money on these ducks. Actually, is it these ducks? Which duck is it? There's a lot of ducks. Let's find our ducks. Rubber ducks. Show offer. Why can't I find my ducks? Oh, are my ducks just not here anymore? There's no deadline. Okay, so my ducks might not even be here anymore. But what I'm trying to point out and note to you is, if you start to see things downtrending, don't be afraid to sell part of your inventory. If I have 6 of 30 done, but the price is going to go down, I'm going to sell them while I can, make some money. You're going to lose money on the whole overall, but lose less money than what you would be losing. You know, it's going to be an easy game for you to fail multiple times on, so don't be too worried or discouraged if that happens. If you follow some of these tips and tricks and just advice, like, you'll get to that 365 days. You know, you'll be able to go through here, knock out all these milestones. As you can see, I'm progressing my way through, but take your time. Don't rush. It's not going to happen overnight. Be patient with yourself. If you need to do client relations and work with just Crazy Steve and have Swakia or Frozen Biceps, wait a little bit. Focus on those specific things that you need. Don't worry too much about this ranking. This Nemesis Inc. guy is going to give you a hard time, but you'll eventually pass him up. And also, try to make sure you're staying profitable. If you look at your daily averages and you're not in the green, like I'm in the red right now, I need to work on things in my game. But it also can vary if you're not selling things. I haven't sold anything in about 12 days as I've just been focusing on building things. But also, sometimes you're going to build projects that people no longer want when you're done. The game does give you an option to scrap them. I'm going to recommend don't scrap them unless you absolutely need the space. I've got an export zone over here. It's just sitting with a ton of inventory, but I'm not going to get rid of it because it'd be like throwing cash away. So if I can afford to hold on to it, hold on to it. If you need the space, get rid of it. It's going to happen. You're going to have ups and downs, and everybody's game is going to be so different. You are just going to have to kind of work and go at it as you can. But, don't be too discouraged. Have a lot of fun. And if you follow some of these, helpful hints and tips, I hope you get all 1,000 gamer score in this game. I hope you progress that 365, and I hope to see you at $1 million here soon. If this video helped you out, let us know with a like down below. If there's something else you would like us to dive into a little further, comment down below. We'll make another video. We know this game's new. We want to provide the content for you guys. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel,